All right, hey everybody, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. We're going to do one of these icons in the icon collection, and it's going to look like this when we're done, if we can do everything right. So this is one of the more difficult icons that you have in all of your templates. This one has a template that looks like this. So this is what we based it all on. If you just tried to cut out all the white, you'd have a really gross looking pixelated image. So we're not worried about that. We're going to draw it all ourselves using some of our skills that we have. And the cool thing about this one is you don't have to draw the whole thing because it has a property that's called bilateral symmetry. Bilateral symmetry means that your object or your image is divisible in half through the center line, and the left side would have a mirror image of the right side. So if I were to start drawing this one, all I would have to really draw is that much, not counting the bones, but the bones will be pretty easy too. If I can draw that much of it and get it like I want it to, then I think we'll have everything that we need. First thing that you need to do to draw something that is symmetrical is I'm going to create a guide. So I'll do this using just a line segment tool. I put it where I think the center line of my project is going to be. And I'm going to go up to View, and then you can go to Guides and make it into a guide. So the guides are going to be visible in the front of almost everything, no matter where you have your guide in your actual project. I can always turn on and off the guide if it's getting in the way using the little eyeball. All right, now that I have a guide, I'm going to start using the pen tool to draw some of the shapes here. And I think I need to go basic. I'll find out what my stroke is, but I think I'll be working at 2 points. Pen tool. So I'm going to start right on the guide, which is bisecting my art, and I'm going to try to make some art that has as few anchor points as possible so that it can be pretty smooth. If I need to go in and manipulate it with my direct selection tool, that might be good. When I'm happy with it, I can go through this part. You might even draw the entire half of this skull before you do this, but I want to show you with one piece. So this one here, have it selected, and I'll go find not the rotate tool, but the reflect tool. It's usually underneath rotate. If I double click it, it'll give me some options, and I like to hit preview so I see what I'm getting. So this will reflect my side of the skull across the vertical axis. Horizontal axis isn't what I want. Let's try that vertical one. And instead of hitting OK, which would leave me with something just like this, I will hit copy. And it's made a second copy of it. This copy I'm going to move so that hopefully it's going to touch that guide that I made, and hopefully it's also touching the anchor point on this first one that I made. What happens if I just give those a fill? If I select one of these, I could give it a fill, but there's some things going on that I don't really like yet, especially if I have both of these selected. If I went to give both of those a fill, boom. It's going to be two open shapes. It's not going to fill in everything that I want. So here's the thing to do with shapes like this if you're trying to use them in a symmetrical situation. Using my direct selection tool, I'm going to grab one of the anchor points at the end, make sure it's exactly at the intersect of another anchor point. So go into Object and Path and Join. And it did it. What you're going to find now is if you have some open shapes like this, you can start to put them together in addition with other details. If you get your layers right, you can start to make your illustration really cool. I'm going to get rid of this one. even though I just did some great work on it. And we'll see how I built this one. So if I look at the bottommost object in this layer, there's a random shape that has a fill but no stroke. I'll get back to that one later. So this is similar to the piece that I just drew. And this is another piece that's about the same. This one's the jaw. I have a layer here with a bunch of details in it. So all of these details that happen in front of these things that have fills, I kind of grouped into this one layer. Some of these things I drew on one side and reflected for the other side, like the cheekbones, like the eyes. I made the nose out of one piece that I reflected and used the Pathfinder tool to unite into one shape. But since I have this open shape and I have this other open shape, those are providing part of the fill behind some of these details. I've also got this detail line which goes and makes an overlapping contour, and I turned that into a tapered line using variable width strokes. I needed something in the background behind all of these to fill in some of that shape. So I used that no stroke, yes, fill vector shape behind everything. Now, is it difficult to make a crossbone? Not really. In fact, the way I made the crossbones is not to just draw the part that's visible. I drew one crossbone completely and copied and reflected that other crossbone. So there's the whole thing. Crossbones are in the wrong order, but there it is. Hopefully that helps you make a really great skull that has bilateral symmetry.